Welcome friends to another r/entitled parents video. Did you know that only entitled people don't hit the like and subscribe buttons down below? It's true. That said, our first story of the day is by Mr. Rance McGee, entitled Mother Says She Won. Part 5, School Days. The gist of Part 1, Swimmer Donor. Sister's guy friend is used as a swimmer bank by entitled Mother. The gist of Part 2, The Ex. Entitled Mother develops a crush on X and suggests a swinger situation. The gist of Part 3, Return to School. Entitled Mother's annoyed sis returns to school. The gist of Part 4, Dad leaves. The ex leaves. Right around the time the old boyfriend left, it was the beginning of the school year. Niece had just started kindergarten, and guess who was in her class? Well, entitled Mother's bratty daughter was, of course. Entitled Mom had wedged her way back into our lives. My parents weren't overly excited about this, as they were trying to cut back on the time spent between the girls, as some of bratty daughter's habits had started rubbing off on niece, such as bratty daughter's tantrums. New guy was the main reason my parents and old boyfriend let the girls continue to spend time together. Besides bratty daughter's tantrums, entitled Mom was always putting her 2 cents in about how niece was being raised. My mom specifically told entitled Mother to mind her own business. Entitled Mother decided she didn't want to be around my mom after that and would wait in the car anytime new guy and her would pick bratty daughter up from the house. There were also 2 other times that drove the people involved nuts and were followed by windows of blissful free bratty daughter time. The first happened during the annual Easter egg hunt when entitled Mother and new guy insisted on helping bratty daughter and started snagging eggs out from underneath other kids. Some kids only had a handful of eggs. Other parents weren't happy. Entitled Mother kept telling people that her daughter was just better. The family friend, who was direct, told entitled Mother that bratty daughter wouldn't be able to find crap if they hadn't been helping her, that she had seen entitled Mother take eggs right out from underneath other kids. Entitled Mother wasn't happy, so they all left, but first insisted on the prize that bratty daughter won. The following years, there was a firm no help from parents rule. The other time was when entitled Mother hijacked niece's birthday party. Entitled Mother had taken some of niece's gifts and let bratty daughter open them as she was crying. During cake, entitled Mother complained about the flavor and the design. She said we should have asked what bratty daughter would have liked. After niece had blown out the candles and while we were getting all the kids situated for cake, entitled Mother had relit the candles and let bratty daughter blow them out. We were flabbergasted. No words. Who does that at a little kid's birthday party? So, niece is in kindergarten. She's doing well. She's been making some new friends, although bratty daughter didn't like this fact. According to the teacher, there were a few incidents with bratty daughter and kids who would be playing or working with niece. She wasn't legally allowed to say what happened, just that incident reports were filed along with calls to the parents. Entitled Mother never admitted to any of this happening. Niece went into therapy about a week after parent-teacher conference and was also back in daycare. Since old boyfriend left, no one was able to pick niece up after school. Niece only went to school for half a day. The daycare was able to pick her up and also bring her to her therapy session where my mom would pick her up. My parents were happy with this situation. Bratty daughter couldn't go to the daycare, so niece had a few blissful hours without her. This worked well for a few months until daycare lady had to close for family health reasons. This took place right before the Christmas holiday. I was able to move my schedule around. If I wasn't able to pick her up, family friend would pick her up. This worked for a few months, but both family's friend and my work schedule changed. So entitled Mother offered to watch the girls, reminding my parents that she was a stay-at-home mom and was available free of charge. So niece started going over to entitled Mother's and bratty daughter's house. This lasted up until the next report card came out. There were a lot of things my parents were unaware of, as entitled Mother had told niece not to say anything, as it was a secret. My mom had confronted entitled Mother when she noticed niece's report card had been open. She only realized this though, as a letter that was supposed to be with the report card wasn't with said report card. My niece had been nominated for Student of the Month. My mom had received a phone call from the school reminding her to send back the letter this month so niece could participate in Student of the Month. Well, entitled mother didn't think niece deserved the award, and that she was only being awarded out of pity. That is why she just threw out not just this letter, but the previous letter that niece had received. My mom was livid, told her that it wasn't her business, she had no right to be going through niece's bag and opening items addressed to my parents. Entitled mother was not niece's parent. Entitled mother then said, along the lines, as I wasn't there, "I may as well be. I don't know why I didn't get custody. I'm a much better mom than sister ever was, and would be a better guardian than my parents." Apparently, my parents were too old to be raising a 5-year-old. Our neighbor Lordy had found out and offered to watch niece. We were super thankful. Lordy loved niece and vice versa. Niece was supposed to be in bed one night and instead snuck out to go back over to Lordy's house. I happened to be looking out the window and saw her with her strawberry shortcake PJs and fuzzy pink slippers. The story continues and entitled mother says she won Part 6, Return of the Dad. I both love and hate that there's like a Star Wars level saga going on here. If somebody was babysitting your kid and you found out down the road that your kid had received an award, but they didn't get recognized for it because the entitled mother watching them ripped it up or threw it out or whatever, would you be unloading the ever-loving verbal barrel upon that entitled mother? Let me know in the comments down below. Our next story is by Snail Dancer. Entitled mom gets mad because 1 week post-op me won't give her my seat. I had a fairly major surgery last year. My doctor had me come in a week after my surgery because I was having vomiting and more fatigue than is normal a week out. I couldn't walk from my room to the bathroom without a break, and I live in a tiny shoebox. I had to take the bus because I didn't trust myself to drive yet. On my way back from my appointment, it's rush hour, but seeing as I got on at the hospital and limped onto the bus, some kind dude gave me a seat, which happened to be in the priority section. A few stops later, a mom and best guess a 1-year-old came on. She looks at me, and here is the convo. She says, "Can me and my son have that seat?" I say, "Sorry, I just had surgery and I'm still really sick." She says, "Well, this is priority seating for the parents, disabled, and elderly." I said, "I literally cannot stand." She said, "You can, you just won't." I put my earbuds in at this point, and she goes on a rant about young people having no respect until the bus driver says, "Shut up and sit down." Gave me dirty looks the whole ride. This definitely sucks because OP had a very legitimate reason for sitting there. They didn't even have to disclose why they were sitting there to that lady, but they did, and the lady just gives them flack for it. Tries to guilt them into getting up. OP did the right thing. Put your earbuds in and say, "Screw you, lady. Enjoy finding a seat somewhere. Hope your kid doesn't grow up to be like you." Our next story is by Transy Demon Boy. Entitled Mother Stole My Savings Fund. 2020 was a terrible year for all, even me and my family. 3 aunts get the plague. 2 of them are old and diabetic, and we were so worried about them. My mother got sick too. She was 3 months bedridden. I was 17 at this time, so my big sis went to the home to take care of mom and the house. She has 3 children, 5, 7, and 9 years old. Sometimes I had to take care of them while my sister goes to the grocery store or does errands. I hated everything about this situation. Nothing will be worse, right? No, it got even worse. My youngest aunt died and all the family got broke. My mom got depressed and I didn't know how to feel. All between June and August. 2021 arrived and something felt weird. My mother recovered, but my sister still did not leave. She and her brats put the house upside down. The kids running here and there, the house always dirty, and all of them slept in my room. Meanwhile, my mother slept alone. I had to listen to 4 people snore for 14 freaking months. Sleeping late at night and waking up early for my nephew's online classes at full volume. It was really a nightmare. I told my feelings to my mom, but she always said, "It's your sister, you have to love her." It was a total horror. We have real fights for stupid things like, "Where's the TV controller?" Or, "I leave, my daughters take your collection figures, it's just toys." Or, "I have to go to a party, take care of my kids." And stuff like that. I was at my limit. I always have this type of problem. all my life and I was tired. I decided to get a job and started a savings fund to get independence. I tried to tell my mother, but she laughed in my face and said, "You think it's that easy? You can't." 4 months later, I gathered enough to start a new life apart from my toxic family. Several months ago, one of my cousins fought with her mother and left in a fit of rage. I went to her apartment, the first little room that she found in the moment. She didn't have any money and she didn't even have a fridge. I thought, I'm going to do better than this. I don't care about any fight. I'll find the correct moment to leave. And yeah, my mother always found a reason to yell at me, but I just listened and put my head down thinking X amount of days and we'll be in our own space. Until someone stole my savings fund. That day, I saw red. I get angry how I never get it in all of my life. Still innocent, I called my mother, crying and accusing my sister of stealing from me. Entitled Mother says, "Calm down, keep looking for the money, it must be there." I say, "No, it's not there. I'll die if I don't find my money. I'm sure that my ugly sister stole." She says, "Oh, please, you really get that crazy over this? I'll return it to you when I get back from my job." I say, "You stole from me?" She says, "I just borrowed it." That day, I saw red. I got more angry than I've ever been in my life. I don't remember how many blasphemies I spat that day, but I can say that it felt like 18 years of stuff repressed in a diarrhea of rage. Now it's 2022, I have a safe space, and I can finally tell this story. You definitely can't help but just feel bad for OP. They went through a fluctuating situation where they had to make a lot of sacrifices that just weren't making them happy. So they put their head down, they grind it out, and they managed to get themselves, even despite all the controversy and adversity, into their own safe space that they can call their own. They can have their peace of mind, they can sleep like they want to. Good on OP. And our final story of the day is by Schmidt on Your Face. I'm thinking about going no contact with my mom for a while. I'm 28-year-old female, my mom's 57-year-old female. My mom and I have always had a complicated relationship. She's always made everything about her, made herself the victim in literally any situation she can, and she always takes everything so personally. The last few years have been especially rough with her. I moved out of her house and into my apartment at the beginning of 2019, and I was so happy to be finally able to have some space between us. But she would consistently cross boundaries. She would invite herself over anytime she wanted, she would show up unannounced, and she would get upset if I didn't return her texts fast enough, or if I didn't answer my phone when she called. I've always felt bad for saying no to her, and she always makes me feel guilty and makes me feel like I have to justify and explain myself to her. I'm over it, honestly. I'm tired. My mental health has been particularly rough the last year and a half. I've been pretty flaky, I'll admit. I go through periods where I don't want to talk to anyone at all, and so I don't. The only person who gets upset with this is my mom. She takes it as a personal attack and makes me feel like I'm a terrible person for not texting her back. Today, things came to a head. She called me about something unimportant and it just turned into a huge fight where she's saying that I always ignore her, I never want to talk to her, I'm always upset with her, etc. I told her that this isn't the case, that maybe I don't immediately text her back, but I always get back to her. I told her that I've been sick for the last 3 weeks and that I didn't feel like answering my phone for anyone, not just her. She proceeds to say, "Well, I'm sorry that I love you and I care about you. I'm sorry if that adds to your stress." I told her that that's not what stresses me out. It's how she reacts when I don't immediately get back to her. She then said that she and my sister are both tired of me ignoring them and acting like they're a burden. I was pretty shocked by that because my sister and I are very close, and she's never said anything to me about that. Well, it turns out my mom was just straight up lying about my sister saying anything at all to her. She was just trying to make me feel worse about everything. I told my mom that maybe we should just not talk to each other for a while. She said, "I don't want someone else that I love to cut me off." I don't know. I've wanted to go no contact with her for a while, but I feel guilty. I feel like a bad person for wanting this, and I'm sure it's just because that's how she's made me feel, but it's really hard to get past it. Has anyone else gone through this or something similar? Any advice is greatly appreciated. I definitely think OP kind of hit it on the nose here when they said that they're feeling guilty, but most likely feeling guilty because of the seeds that the entitled mother planted to make you feel guilty. Probably all those times saying, "Oh, why are you cutting me off? Why are you ignoring me? Oh, it makes me so sad, it hurts me." Fundamentally though, if it just does not help your mental situation, at some point, hopefully you find a way to correct that. Whether that's just finally getting that situation right where you can go no contact, or you finally get through to them and make some kind of breakthrough. I hope the best for OP. But with that being said, that's all the time we have for today. So of all these stories I've read today, which is your favorite and why? Let me know in the comments down below. And if you haven't yet, if you could like and subscribe, that would mean a lot to me. Whatever you do, whether it's liking, subscribing, turning notifications on, all of it helps grow this channel and I appreciate the heck out of it. So until next time, I'll see you all tomorrow with some more stories.